away, days burn, disintegrate, years roll along and fade. Don't let them slip away. Right here, right now, today. These are the good old days. Right here, right now, today. Hey, these are the good old days.
In 1985, when Mattel released the Marshall Bravestarr action figure line, in conjunction with the Filmation Marshall Bravestarr TV show, they released a line of incredible action figures. They were bigger than anything we'd seen in recent years. And it was an interesting concept, a space cowboy, something that hadn't been done yet, but would be done again and again. Now, there wasn't many figures in this line, but it did get the complete treatment, where it got playsets, and it got vehicles, and it got sidekicks. It was a great line. One of the characters that maybe didn't translate the best from toy to show, or show to toy, was Bravestarr's best friend, 3030. 3030 was a robotic horse who had a fight first, ask questions later attitude, but was a loyal, dependable friend and partner to Marshall Bravestarr. Now, the toy that we got was a great horse. The transform into a humanoid gimmick didn't super translate well, but it was an excellent toy horse and a must-have for any Marshall Bravestarr fan. Now, because not everybody who got a Bravestarr got a 3030, and due to the silver plastic syndrome that makes it very, very brittle and breakable, these 3030 figures are some of the rarest in the line. To find one on the secondary market is always cost prohibitive, and that's if it doesn't have any of its stuff. But luckily, recently, I was able to find one relatively cheap because it had seen better days and is actually in pretty rough shape. So today, we're going to see if we can't rescue this beaten and battered 3030. So here's our 3030. As you can see, he has seen better days. His tail's been smashed off, and he actually is missing a leg. Now we have the other piece of the leg. It's just broken, and you know what happens to a horse if it breaks its leg.
You'll never get away from me, Texas. The Curium's mine, and you'll never forget it. You'll never stand a chance because of my friend 3030. His leg, it's broken. You know what we have to do.
But luckily here at Go Figure, we're about fixing toys, not mercy killing them. So what we could do here is we could just simply glue it back on, but there's not going to be a whole lot of strength there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole into the top part of the leg and to the bottom part of the leg, and I'm going to glue a paper clip in there just to give it some structure so that leg will hold a little stronger than just glue on its own. So we are just going to take a very small drill bit and drill a guide hole and reinforce this leg with a paper clip. Once we have our holes drilled and our paper clip cut, we're just going to put a little bit of glue in each of those holes so that it holds the paper clip in place, and also we'll be gluing the leg together as well. But then this will be a pretty strong joint. Now, there wasn't a whole lot of joint movement with the original toy anyway, so we're not losing a whole lot, and if we're being fair, this horse is going to be on shelf for the rest of its life. But it will be stronger than just glue, and 3030 will be ready to ride the dusty trails again. Alright, so the next thing we're going to address is the damaged tail area here. So we need to get a clip on there to hold the tail if we design it. So first what I'm going to do is in PowerPoint just map out the damaged area so we can fit a slug that will slide right in there and hold our tail clip. And now we're going to drag that image into Flash Print, and because it's in grayscale, it will give us a 3D rendering of the image. And once we have that done, we just need to kind of stretch it out and fit it to size. Alright, now once we have it to size, we're just going to put a slot in it so we have somewhere to attach the tail clip we're going to make. Alright, so we just printed up our little piece we've made here, and with any luck, it should just fit nicely into the broken area near the rear of 3030. So just snap it in place there. So it's going to fit nice. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the edges and snap it in, and we will have a firm foundation to put our tail clip in. Alright, the next step is we're going to remake a tail for 3030, which is a little bit of a challenge, but what we're going to do is similar to our patch we made for the broken tail piece. I'm just going to outline the tail shape in PowerPoint and create a grayscale image of the outline of the tail, so I can drop that into Flash Print and just get a kind of a template, if you will, of what the tail is going to look like. So we're just going to, yeah, there we go. And now I'm just going to build up this tail and make it look much like a horse tail as we can. Alright, so after all that, here is our finished tail. Now I'm just going to make a clip for it. So we have our tail here, and we're just going to make that attachment that goes into the patch and attaches onto the tail. So once we have that done, we should be ready to go. Alright, so we have our tail clip here, and that should just fit right into the patch that we made. Perfect. Just like that, and then this tail should just clip right into the clip. And there you are. Alright, I'm going to put a little bit of glue in the patch so that the clip for the tail holds in there well. And then that is going to be a vast improvement to the broken 3030 that we had before. Alright, the next thing we need to make is a saddle for 3030, which is a bit of a challenge because saddles are pretty complicated and pretty intricate. But I have an idea here that I'm going to try, and if it works, we can take it and expand it. So let's just get a base model of a saddle here, kind of a saddle shape. Alright, so this doesn't look exactly like a saddle yet. It has saddle elements, but I just want to print this off and see if using the hot water technique we can contour it to 30-30, and I think if we do that, it may all of a sudden just become very saddle-like. Look at that. I think this is working really, really well. There we go. And yeah, I think that works. That kind of looks like a saddle. As soon as it gets that horse shape to it, which is hard to design yourself, it really works. So now that this proof of concept works here, we're going to take our saddle design and expand it a bit. Alright, now here's our finished saddle. It's got some pegs on the side, longer straps, and some storage at the back there that 30-30 had as well. Put some guns and packages and whatnot in there. So we're just going to put this into the hot water that we have here and see if we can't mold it around his body as well as the first one did, and we'll go from there. Now this is a bit of a bigger piece. I'm just leaving the water a little longer. And then should just hopefully mold right onto his body here. So here's our finished saddle, and I'm very pumped up. It just snaps right on, as opposed to needing to be tied on like the vintage one. So I think that works for a saddle better than I thought it was going to. So that's very exciting. And I put these little nubs on the end there so that we can put some stirrups on it. It's important if Bravestarr is going to ride this that he has stirrups, so we're going to design those up right here. And here we go. These are a simple design, and let's just fit on the side of the saddle, and then we're going to use water later to mold them around his feet, and that'll make sure Bravestarr gets a good fit. So those look really good. I'm just going to use a little bit of glue to glue them into position. Alright, next is the headpiece or the bridle for 30-30. So I just measured his face and just drew a rough outline of what I think is going to work. And so then, just like our horsetail, I'm going to make a grayscale outline of this that I can import into Flash Print. And then once we have it into our Flash Print program, we can then modify it once it's there. Alright, so there's our final design for this headgear for 30-30, and here's it is printed up. Now again, we're going to do our old hot water trick and mold this around his head, and hopefully it'll look pretty fantastic. now that we have his microphone in place, the last step is the wire that connects his earpiece to his microphone, which is just hanging by the side here. And so we'll get that molded into place, and I think his headgear will look pretty fantastic. Alright, then now we got the stirrups on there. Before we mold them into place, the last thing we need to make are some reins for this horse. Never really understood why Bravestarr needed to control 30-30 with reins, but he did, so we're going to make some. Alright, so now we have our reins here we're going to print off. We're just going to put them in some hot water and get the little ends to be vertical instead of horizontal, and then kind of give them a natural looking kind of flow. They seem kind of rigid and straight right now. And then we're just going to glue them onto his headpiece. Alright, so there they are attached to his headpiece, and so now Bravestarr has something to hold on to when he's riding. But because it's a bit weird for him to be sitting like that without Bravestarr, I've actually printed up a second headpiece without the reins, so that I can display him either with them or without them, depending whether Bravestarr is riding him or not. Last step is just to put these stirrups here into some hot water, and we're going to mold them around Bravestarr's feet, so that it's a perfect fit for when Bravestarr rides 30-30 into battle, that he is able to hang on there. So just perfect, just like that. And then we'll do the other side. And we are all set.
Go. There's our restoration of a Marshall Bravestarr 30-30, getting him ready for the shelf and for the dusty trail. I'm thrilled with the way this turned out, and I'm so happy to have him as part of my collection. I'd like to thank my buddies Nathaniel and Ethan for helping out with this video. You guys were fantastic. I'd also like to thank all my Patreon supporters. It means the world to me that you guys support the channel. If you like what we're doing, if you had as much fun as we did, hit the like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the YouTube stuff. If you want more information on any of the printing stuff that I use, go to flashforge.com. If you'd like to support us on Patreon, you can feel free to do so, but most importantly, we'll see you in the next video.